Hello and welcome back to Saber Outdoors. My name, of course, is Mark Alexander, your wonderful host, and today we are going over some more basic stuff. Guys, I'm going to go through the basic knots that you, out there, you need to go camping. Because, guys, you got to know some stuff. If you don't know some stuff, you're going to be in trouble. So, what are we using today? We're just using a little extra paracord and just some diamond braid rope. But this is glow-in-the-dark rope, and I wish I could actually show you it glowing in the dark because it's really cool. But guys, we're gonna get right into it. So first off, let me scratch my nose, and we'll use this big rope. We'll throw that down for the time being. Now let's find our end. So guys, first knot we're going to do is what's known as a fireman's knot. So we've got our tag. We're going to take it, fold it over, boom, just like that. Makes a loop. We're going to take our loop, take both pieces of our rope. We're going to make another loop with that. And then we're going to take and pass our rope, our loop from the start back through that loop. So this makes an exceptionally strong loop that you can use for almost anything. Guys, you can use this if you're wanting to make a loop. If you just want to make something simple, all you have to do is grab the rope and pull it through, and you've got a loop where you can tie something together. Or if you need a slip knot, like if you're say you need to, I don't know, tie it to tie something that you know for sure won't come loose. All you have to do is do that, and boom, tight, won't come loose. So if you're tying this to a tree like we're about to do, that's how you do it. And speaking of tying things to trees, let's put this knot around this tree and tie it up, and I'm going to show you just how we do that. So we've got our tree here. Now this tree is small enough that I could feasibly reach around, but if you can't, you take your knot and you give yourself plenty of rope and you throw that knot around and you catch it on the fore side. All you have to do is pass your rope through it, and you can work with that, or you could pull this all the way through and work with that. Or what you can do is you can pick up a stick, a reasonably strong stick, and you can just put that stick in there in that place, and your stick, it's there, it ain't going nowhere. Not going anywhere. You could tighten this up as much as you want, riding it against the tree, and that's going to be there. And then whenever you're ready for it to come out, you're done. Boom, it's loose. Falls right off. But let's get our loop back in there. So let's tighten it up. Drop my stick, but that's okay. Where did it go? Here's one. Take our stick, and there it is. It's tight, it won't go nowhere. So I'm gonna meet you on the other end and teach you how to tie a trucker's hitch. All right, so there is one little caveat that I want to give to this. When you are tying to a tree, make sure whatever you're tying to, if you're not trying to pull it down, is alive, because you might tie to this tree, but it is dead. So it has what's known as widowmakers on it. So if you look up, you can see there are limbs up there that are just sitting there. Also, you're intending to put weight on this, whether that's the weight of you, like if you're in a hammock, or the weight of your camping equipment, whatever it is, you're tending to put weight on that. That's basically pulling that towards you. And if it's rotten enough, it pulls that down. And where are you at in this scenario? You're either laying in your tent and it's going to pull it directly down, either not right next to you or on top of you and go squish. Or if you're in a hammock, that's going to pull it directly down and it's going to land, boom, directly on you and hurt you badly, if not kill you, depending on the size of the thing. Always make sure whatever it is that you're tying to, whether it's a tree, a column, or a pole, or whatever, make sure it's solid. Because if it's not and it comes down on you, you are going to end up in a bad situation, if not dead. So guys, public service announcement, don't do those things. But let's get back to doing rope things. So let's make sure my camera is in good order. So we've got our line. We're still tied to our other tree with our stick. Now we're going to try a trucker's knot. So grab your line, roll it over. With your loop made, grab towards the tree, pull the knot through. You have a knot made, but it's only half the story. So we've got our tree here. We're going to take our line. This one you need all of your line, but we're going to take our line and we're going to throw it around our tree. So throw it around, bring it across. We've got more line than we need, but I'm not cutting this rope. So right here we have our trucker's notch, trucker's hitch. Let me get you a little closer, a little bit better. I mean, not get you tangled in the rope. That's all you need. But we have our trucker's hitch here. So we've got it pulled tight, and we're gonna put our line through that hitch. Now, at this point, we've made a pulley system. If you tie this trucker's hitch wrong and you grab the other side, you will end up closing your knot. You'll know if you grabbed the right side that your knot does not close. But you can see it's reasonably tight. I can tighten this even more. Tighten it almost enough I can play on that. But you can see my knot itself is right there, and my loop has not closed. Let's get you kind of up close where you can see what I'm doing. But you can see my knot's not closed. My line is good and tight. I will pinch that, and you will tie what's known as a half hitch. So this is a half hitch with a bite. So basically we're gonna put a rope around and pull a loop through and pull that tight. I'll show you that half hitch here in a second, but you can see it looks like that. Now if you want that extra tight, you take you another loop of rope and put it through that and tighten that down as well. And I'll tell you, that's gonna be there for the time until you want it to not be there. And the easiest thing is when you're ready to pull that knot out, it takes that much effort, and then your knot's out. And the same's true about the trucker's hitch. So if we pull this all out and we take our trucker's hitch, which you saw had a lot of pressure on it, all we have to do is do that and our trucker hitch is out. Our line is smooth again. Now I'm going to tie this trucker's hitch the wrong way and show you the difference. So I'm going to pull my line through and make my loop, and instead of grabbing towards my tree, I'm going to grab towards where I've got tied. Now if you tighten this down, it makes the loop, but as soon as you put pressure on that loop, it wants to close. Not like when you tie it correctly. Now this too will just come in two. So it's not like a big deal if you tie it wrong. It's not like it's going to be tied forever. But if you tie your line right and tie it towards the tree that you're trying to work with, you can pull on that all that you want and it'll stay a loop. And then when you're ready for it to come out, all you have to do is pull on it and it's out. Now, a half hitch with a bite. Let's show you that. So you tie a half hitch every time you tie your shoes. All it is whenever you take your rope and put your thing through, just like you're tying your shoes. The only difference is when you use a bite, instead of putting this through, you put a loop through and you tie that. Now, that will come out if you put any pressure on it, but if you're just tying something to it right there, not a problem. And if you want to tie that extra good, you take your loop that you have, you put another loop through that and tighten it down just like this, and that will hold until you pull this end, and then it will just pop and be out. Boom, not a problem. So guys, those are a few of them. I've got one more knot to show you, but I've got to set my line back up. I'm going to show you how quickly you can set a trucker's hitch up if you are experienced with it. Come on. Okay, so you just saw me do that. It might have taken me 30 seconds. And we have a very nice, tight ridgeline that we could use for a great number of things. I could tie horses off to this. I could throw a tarp over this. I could do a lot of nice things. I could use this for a clothesline or any number of other things. And look, still holding, firm as can be. Now, if this stick breaks, yeah, it's probably gonna fall apart, but again, not a big deal. But I'm gonna show you the last knot that I regularly use for camping purposes. So uno momento, because it's gonna take a second to set up. All right, guys, so I've got my paracord, I've got my ridgeline. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna tie that very first knot over again. So make a loop, make another loop with both your lines, and put that first loop through that second loop, just like this. And you've got that loop there. Now, normally for this particular knot, I would cut this off and it would only be this much loop. Like, it would only be that much, but I don't want to cut mine because I'm doing this for demonstration purposes. But we take our loop and we go through it. Of course, with the extra line, you got to bring that through. We go through it once. We take our loop again and we go through it a second time. Now, what we have created with this is known as a monkey's fist. Now, with no pressure on this, it moves freely. But if we put downward pressure on this, it doesn't move at all. I can get really on it, and it doesn't budge even a little bit. This works best with two lines that are not of similar size. So this bigger line works better with this little line than it would be with two big lines or two little lines. They will work either way, But you might ask yourself, well, why do I need to know this? Let me show you so you'll understand. I'm going to tie a quick half hitch. And we're going to imagine, with our big imaginary brains, this is a loop on a tarp. So we need a stick. There's sticks all over the place. We're in the woods. So we got our tarp loop. We take our other loop, we put that through, and we take us a stick and we shove that through. This is in the bushcraft world known as using a toggle, but that's not what I call it. Let's see who this is. I'll be back in a moment. All right, now that distraction's over with. So we've taken our imaginary loop from our tarp. We've stuck a stick through. You can see our lines are now intertwined. Now I can tighten my stuff up. Now if I say, well, you know, I'd like it a little tighter, I can just scooch this over and it's tight again. Or if I need it the other direction, I can scooch it that way, tight again. Sometimes it gets a little tight, you have to loosen it a little bit, but you can see freely moves until I put pressure on it, and then it does nothing. And when I want to get this out, all I have to do, take the toggle out, give it a pitch, and then just take my tarp off. Boom, over with. Now to undo this knot is easy. All you have to do, and if you cut this off, you wouldn't have to pull all that extra through, but all you have to do is just pull and pull, and the knot's loose. Guys, this is the way you set up a tarp shelter. If you're gonna do something like a simple lean-to, or if you're doing a ridge line for something you're putting over, say say you're not building a tarp shelter to get under, but you're building something so you have a roof over your hammock or whatever. This is what you need to use. So let me show you real quickly how quickly that I can set the entirety of this system up. So one moment and I'm going to show it to you. Okay, so I'm going to take the rest of this down and I'm going to show you from beginning to end how quickly I can get this set up. All right, so ropes on the ground, we're starting now. Boom. That's all my knots that I've showed you today. Tied, ready to go. Guys, with some useful knots, you can become that guy that's set up in 10 minutes and then you're ready to go have fun. Guys, that's all there is about knots. There's fireman's knot, trucker's hitch, overhand with a bite, monkey's fist. Those are the knots that I use when I'm out camping. And those are the knots I think you should use as well. I think that if you are wanting to do camping, watch videos, go do it. It's not that tough. Get you a tent, get you a tarp, get you the things that you need, and go do it. You can do these knots. They're simple, they're easy. They do require practice. If you're not able to do it the first time, try again. It's not hard. Trucker's hitch. Roll your hand, grab a line, pull it through. Make sure this end goes to whatever you're tying to. If you pull it early, it'll close that knot. And even if you've tied it wrong, it pulls in two, not a problem. the overhand with a bite. Take your line, just like you were tying your shoes, only instead, don't put your line through and do this. This will come loose. What you do, you take a loop and put through that same thing and then pull it tight. Now, if you want this to be extra strong, put a bite on your bite, and then that'll be good and strong, but still where you can undo it. And of course, the fireman's knot, tie with a loop. Pull that loop through that other loop. Boom, your fireman's knot's done. This knot is hard to get out once you've tightened up on it. So make sure whatever it is you're tying, if you want that knot to stay, if you want it to be there for good, that's the knot to pick. If it was some other thing, I would pick a different knot. But guys, that's all there is to say about this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that bell notification, and I'm gonna say it twice because it's so important. Subscribe. Guys, we're pushing for 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and with all of your help, we can do that. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps me so much. Thanks for watching. We'll see you somewhere in the woods or on the water.